Hi guys, in this video we're going to be making Star Wars cookies using standard Christmas cookie cutters. If you're like me, then you may have limited storage space for all of your baking supplies, so I like to utilize what I already have whenever possible, rather than buying new shapes for every new project. I made a sugar cookie dough and a gingerbread cookie dough for these cookies, and I'll share links for those in the video description box below, but these ideas are really meant to be used with any roll and cut cookie dough. The sugar cookie recipe I used was a new one for me, and to be honest it was a little difficult to work with, kind of crumbly, but I did like how the final cookies came out. And the gingerbread cookie recipe was a staple for me. It's the same one that I shared on my blog about 5 years ago when I first made the Wookiee cookies that I'll be making in this video. For both those, remember that you want to chill them in the fridge after you finish making them, and then I also like to chill the finished cookies on the sheet before I bake them, just to make sure that they retain their shape in the oven. If you're going to be making all of these cookies, you'll also want several colors of royal icing. I have light green, a dark brown, orange, tan, white, gray, and black. For our first cookie, we're going to be making the Wookiee cookies. So you are going to want the gingerbread dough for this one, or some other brown dough. A chocolate cookie would probably also look good. You're just going to use a standard gingerbread man cookie cutter, and once you've got those all cut out, you can go back in with each individual cutout cookie and add fur with the tines of a fork. Make sure to get his little head as well. Once baked, you can use the brown royal icing or melted chocolate, if you prefer, to add his bandolier and his little face, and white for his mouth. And once that's dry, you go back in and add details to the bandolier with the white. This next cookie hack you may have seen last year. It went viral, and it comes from, I believe, GeoGal42 on Imgur. I will link to her post in the description box below. But basically, we're just going to be taking an angel cookie cutter in order to make little baby Yoda cookies. So you just take each angel and chop off their head, and then you will use the wings as Baby Yoda's ears, and just fill the whole thing in with green. And you may notice that I use the same royal icing for outlining and for filling because I am lazy. So if you want to do the same thing, the consistency that you want to look for is a little bit thinner than toothpaste, is how I think of it. I don't know if that's helpful to anyone else, but that's what makes sense to me. Then you just do the tan for the body, and once that's dry, go back in, pay no attention to how this is now a gingerbread cookie, and fill in the face details with the black. And I like to add a little dot of white into the eyes just to make it look a bit more realistic. It kind of looks like the reflection in the eyes. Add some little details with the green, and fill in the collar with more tan. And you can be done at this point, but I decided to go back in and add just a little bit more. So I added his little arms with a couple of little rectangles in tan, and then finally just a couple of little dots in green for his hands. Our next cookies are going to be two of the Empire's finest ships, or, well, I guess one is a space station and the other one is a ship. We're going to be using these round ornament cutters to make Death Stars, and the Christmas tree cutters to make Star Destroyers. So once you have your ornament cookie, you just want to trim off the end there, and I used a 1/4 teaspoon to create the indentation where the eye of the Death Star would be. Then you just want to fill in the whole thing with gray and hopefully make better circles than I was able to. This is I did this multiple times, and these were the best circles that I could draw. I'm not good at circles. Then just go back in once that's dry and draw on all of the metal paneling. And you can just do the lines kind of at random. I didn't want them to be too symmetrical there. And a few lines on the eye of the Death Star, and you're done. For the Star Destroyer, we'll just be cutting off most of the Christmas tree branches, but you want to leave on just a tad so you can see those notches in the Star Destroyer. And then I used this spare dough to create what would essentially be the bridge of the ship. Do bake those tiny pieces separately from the big cookies because they're going to bake much faster. You don't want them to burn before the bigger cookies are done baking. Once again, just fill in the whole thing with gray, and then once that's done, you can go back in and do the lines for the metal paneling. And now that I look at this, I kind of wish I'd done this sort of at an angle going in. I think that would be more screen accurate, but you guys can learn from my mistakes. Last but not least, we'll be doing two of the other cutest characters from Star Wars. I'm talking about BB8 and the Porgs. For BB8, we'll be using this sort of Christmas light cookie cutter, and the Porgs are these snowman cookie cutters. So you just cut off the head of the snowman, flatten his feet a little bit, and then with your icing, you want to use the tan to sort of fill in the wings and the top of the head, and then white for the face and the belly of the Porg. And once that's dry, you can go back in and do his sort of little frowny face with the black royal icing and his feet in orange. And for BB8, you just sort of want to trim the bottom of the light cookie to make it a bit more round and smush the rest of it to make it round like BB8. And then I just decided to go for it on this one, so outline the whole BB8 shape in white, and then you need 2 orange lines on the head and 3 orange circles on the body. Fill in the orange circles with gray and add 1 gray line to the head, and then just fill in the rest with white. And this is where using your toothpick to fill everything in really comes in handy. And for his eye, I just used a little black sprinkle. And as a sort of bonus cookie, I had originally actually bought these angel cookie cutters with the intention of making Gremlins cookies with them. And then the Baby Yoda cookie hack went viral, and the wind was sort of taken out of my sails because I thought, oh, Baby Yoda's much more popular than movie from 1985, but since I was making the Baby Yoda cookies anyway this time, I decided to go ahead and make my little Mogwai cookie, and I'm honestly very happy with it. I think this might be the cutest cookie I've ever managed to make, so apologies to all the Baby Yodas that I made, but it's really hard to be cuter than Gizmo. I hope you guys liked these cookie ideas. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to doing some new videos for you in the new year. Until then, happy holidays, happy Life Day, and as always, happy baking.